Welcome to South Shore Piano, the official podcast of the South Shore Piano School. I'm your host, Jonathan Roberts, and on this podcast, we talk with students, parents, teachers, and other leaders in the arts to find out exactly how music education and the arts are changing lives every day. My guest today is Axel Peña. Axel is a student at the Inly School in Scituate. He's in 6th grade, has been studying music since the age of 3, starting with the violin and later on picking up the piano. Music is his main activity, which is super awesome. Participates in recitals and other musical activities all the time, and just really excited to have him on the podcast today. Thank you so much for joining us today, Axel.
Hello, I'm glad to be here.
So, Axel, I'd like to start with a really silly question that has nothing to do with music, because this is just a fun show. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right, here we go. If you had to choose between X-ray vision and super speed, which one would you pick and why?
Super speed. I would never be late, and I would... Wait, how fast would super speed be exactly?
Let's say infinite.
All right, then I would choose super speed, so I wouldn't need to use a car, and it would help the environment. Then also, I would finally be able to beat some of my classmates in a race.
Cool. So it would serve a number of practical purposes. All right.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you for playing. Let's get on to the music stuff. So, Axel, when you were 3, that was a while ago. Most of us can't remember much before the age of 5 or 6. But from what you can remember, what was it like getting started in music?
I have a pretty good memory. I remember my first violin lesson, but that wasn't my first part of music. When I was around 2, I was going to the South Shore Conservatory, and for I forget what, but I had passed a stack of notes and stuff and articles, and there was one for taking violin lessons, and at that point I really couldn't speak that well, so I pointed at it, and my caregiver said, "Oh, what are you pointing at?" And I kept pointing, and she said, "You can't do that today or for a while." So I started crying, actually. I don't remember that part. And after that, my parents and my caregiver got me some toy ukuleles to play with. I was absolutely horrible. I can remember it. I remember thinking that this doesn't have suck, but when I remember it back then, it was horrible. But my first violin lesson was when I was 3. And then in a while I got into piano because when did I start piano?
I think you started in summer of 2018.
Yes. And that's when I started piano. And actually, somewhere in that time, I had taken a break from violin, and I played a bit of viola for a little bit, and then I went back to violin. But so right now I'm really just doing piano and violin.
Okay, cool. So that sounds like a very accurate description of the timeline. Tell me more about what the experience felt like. What was it like to play music, to share music with other people, that kind of thing?
I did enjoy a lot of the recitals. Eventually getting better, I liked performing some of my more advanced pieces. Some pieces were just really fun to do, and sharing them with someone was pretty exciting.
Cool. With violin especially, do you like playing with other people?
With the violin, I have done a ton of camps with violin, and I really do like playing with other people because I enjoy the sound of the violin, but it sounds so much better when multiple people are playing in unison. or in harmony rather.
Yeah, playing in harmony is definitely an exciting experience to share with other people. Now, we inevitably come across challenges and on our individual artistic journeys. How would you say you've handled those? Because you've been in lessons for a long time, and usually where people fall off the wagon is when they play something that has some unique challenges, something that's a little bit unusual, and then that's when the procrastination sets in. Oh, I'll do this tomorrow, and then that leads to days and months, and then people stop. But that has not happened with you. How do you feel like you have powered through those challenges as a young musician?
Some people don't look far enough ahead in their music. I look too far ahead. So I'm still working on that right now. I'm just trying to figure it all out. It's really weird because apparently Jonathan says that no one else has ever had that problem. So
Yes,
sort of,
exactly. We're usually getting onto students because they're not looking enough ahead to sort of keep going in their music smoothly. But yes, Axel, you remain the only one who looks way too far ahead when you play the piano. But that's okay. We all have our things that we're working on, and that's definitely improved quite a bit as we've gone on together. Now, what about when you're tackling specific challenges in your music? Like, let's say you get to a place that has sort of a unique challenge, or it's not easily sight readable. How do you handle those challenges?
well, for some strategies, I'll take I'll just use one hand at a time, maybe just doing my right hand motions, then with my left hand motions if it's a two-handed piece. If that doesn't work, then slowing down is always a good way to do it. Always a difficult one, but a great way to do it. Taking it in segments, maybe like a measure or two or a line at a time. That's a great way to get through roadblocks. And if it's a completely new way of using music, oh, I recently learned vibrato in violin, or just started using it in pieces more of. And what I had to do for that was, again, slowing down and doing it in segments.
Very cool. So when in doubt, just break it down into small, manageable bits, it sounds like.
Yes.
I love it. Now, we've been in this pandemic business for, I think, 14 months now. How has that been for you? Or what has music meant to you over the course of this, going from face to face to virtual everything?
Well, it certainly affected it. I dropped violin and viola, so that was a big impact. And I think I got more out of it when it was in person, but it still has been a really big highlight. And when everything was stuck at home, I have been very lucky and I got to go back to school in September. But before then, during just full shutdown at the beginning, piano and violin were definitely the highlights of my week and the only actual learnable lesson that I could get.
Oh, so everything else that was online felt like it was a little bit more challenging than violin and piano?
No, there was just nothing there. I finished school in about an hour each day.
Oh, so at that point in time, you didn't have to actually sit through a full school day. They just gave you the work and then you just did it at your own speed and you zipped through it?
Yeah, that was so. Yeah, and which is why I really like having violin and piano because I actually got to practice during that time because being bored at home and only having 1 hour of work each day is not good for the mind.
Well, I have to admit I haven't met any other students who had that problem. So congratulations, Axel. That's awesome. So you're still a young man, but we're gonna blink and you're gonna be an adult before we know it. How do you see music being a part of your future?
Um, well, this is sort of a weird goal, but uh this sort of connects to when I played viola. I have always wanted to get a violin with 5 strings.
Ah,
I know that's not a very normal goal, but it's just sort of been something that I wanted to do. I'd love to do recitals, and I think that it'll really help me out in the future. If there's maybe an orchestra that I could join in high school or college or something, I'd probably join.
very cool. So whatever path you choose for yourself, your piano and your violin will be there ready for you when you want it.
Yes.
Well, Axel, this has been a really fun conversation, hearing your take on your experience with the pandemic, your challenges, how you overcome them, and just getting in a little bit more into the mind of Axel Peña. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
It was really fun to be here.
And thank you so much to all of our listeners out there. Again, this is South Shore Piano, the official podcast of the South Shore Piano School, where we talk with students, parents, teachers, and other leaders in the arts to find out exactly how music and the arts are changing lives every day. If you enjoyed this episode, do hit the subscribe button on the podcasting app of your choice, or if you're checking out the YouTube version, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you're among the first to find out about new episodes. We publish new episodes every Monday and Friday. Thanks so much, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.